Hi guys, my name's Bella Kennedy and I just went on the El Salvador trip this past summer. So a little bit about me, I'm currently in college right now. I go to Mount St. Joseph University and I'm currently studying criminology because I've always felt very called to help people, but I guess I kind of misunderstood what kind of help God meant. So over this past trip, I finally got to understand what my calling was, so this is kind of where my testimony starts. So back when I was younger, I used to struggle with a lot of depression and all that kind of fun stuff that most young kids go through. But for me, it lasted for lots of years. Like it probably started when I was about maybe 14, and then it just progressively got worse and worse. And I was also homeschooled, so thankfully I didn't have to go through a lot of public or private school kids go through, like the bullying and stuff like that, but most of my depression came from internal stuff and just constantly fighting with my relationship with God and just constantly not really being there and fully committing to that relationship that I should have had. So this trip has definitely awakened that in me, and now it's so much better. So during this whole time when I was depressed, I was constantly trying to find ways to fix that internal pain. So to fix the internal pain, I would resort to more physical pain and try to really block out whatever's going in here. So, I would kind of do the basic stuff. I would cut my arm or my leg just so I could silence that pain that was just going on inside. But, that's only a quick solution. It's not going to be a forever kind of medicine. So there was one night when I was younger, I don't remember how old I was, but it was middle of the night, my family was asleep, and I was kind of just at that point where I was just done, and I didn't really want to be here anymore. So I resorted to finding a bunch of medicine that we had in our cabinets and stuff. So I found a bunch of prescripted stuff, and I was like, this is it, I'm done. And literally as soon as I was about to just swallow all of those pills, I heard my mom get up just randomly in the middle of the night. She had no idea. She didn't know for a long time after that happened, but definitely that was God being you're not ready to come home yet. I'm still working on you and I have something later for you. But I didn't know that then. I was just kind of mad. I was like, really? I had this whole plan set up and now I'm still here. But, that was definitely a blessing, and things didn't really get any better, but I didn't really try again. So that was the one and only time. Depression never really got any better. We tried to stay away from medicine for helping all of that. And finally, not too long ago, just recently, I got on medication for it and it seemed to be working, and I was like, wow, this is great. I've been waiting for that type of relief. And then when we went to this trip, I was feeling very confused on what I was supposed to be doing with my life. And I thought I had it all planned out, with my degree. I was like, afterwards I'm just gonna go and maybe I'll try and be a police officer for the required time, 3 or 4 years, and then we'll see what happens after that. But I had big plans. I wanted to go CIA or SWAT team, because I've also I've really loved being very active, and I like working with weapons and stuff like that because my dad has always went shooting with me, and so I thought that that's what I was going to do. But so on this trip, we had a night of prayer, and it was this very God was just in that room. You could totally feel him there, and we were all praying and worshiping, and so I was just calling out to God, sobbing. I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what path I'm supposed to go on. I know that I'm supposed to help people. I don't think I know what kind of help that is now. So after that night, I had a friend pray for me and everything, and we kept doing our programs as we were before. So we would go door to door and try to invite people to come to the programs we were doing. And so at one of them, this little girl just comes running down the little alleyway in the neighborhood, and she's just giggling up a storm, and she runs into my leg and she starts tugging at my shirt so that, she wanted to be held. So I picked her up and I was just holding her the whole entire time we had been going out. And she constantly kept resting her head on my shoulder and not wanting to be put down. So eventually we got back to the program and I was like, you can go sit down. And we started doing our little dances and our skits, and they had a little message and everything. And so afterwards, when that was finished, I saw some of our group was outside of the building that we were in, and they were around this family. And the family was that little girl and her grandma and her older brother. And the grandma was much, much older, and she was blind in her left eye, and she just was struggling financially and physically. And she had these 2 kids to take care of. The little girl was 4. The little boy, I'm not sure. He was probably 7. And so I was talking to one of the people, the locals there, who was in our group, and he was telling me that their parents were arrested for being affiliated with a gang. And I had no idea that when you're, going to jail for being in a gang or affiliated with one, you're gone for life. So I just started tears were just streaming down my face, because I just realized this little girl hasn't had her parents, and her grandma can't physically show her love or hold her, and that's such a crucial thing for young children to have when they're growing up. So it made me realize why she just constantly wanted to be held and was around me the whole entire time. So I was just sitting there crying, and afterwards, when we started to go back to our bus, and the guy that I had just been talking to, he was going on his way, and all of a sudden he stops and he turns around and he comes to me, he's like, "Can I talk to you really quick?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he was like, "So this is completely not me talking to you. This is actually God talking through me to you." And so he starts rubbing his hands together really fast, and he was like, "Let me see your hands." So I gave him my hands, and he grabbed my hands, and they were scalding hot, touching an oven hot, inhuman. And he told me, "This is the fire of God coming to you and talking through me to you." So in my mind, I was like, I have never had this happen. I've never experienced something like this. I've never truly felt like I knew when God was talking to me. So this was just amazing. And during a couple nights ago, when I was praying about, asking him where to take me and show me, I told him, I was like, "You got to be blunt with me, God, because I'm oblivious. You know that about me. I'm a very oblivious person, so I'm not going to understand when you're telling me something." So this was definitely him being blunt with me. So the guy that I was talking to, he told me, "This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to these places, and you're going to go, I don't know where, but somewhere that people will not go to and don't want to go to." So in my mind, I'm thinking, this is crazy. So I really was just feeling God talking to me, and I found my calling that day, just at a random time. God's funny with the way that he works. It was just a random time in the day that he told me this, and I just kind of was trying to hold back tears. I'm like, this is insane that God's talking to me. So I found out that day that I'm supposed to be a missionary and not, pursuing the major that I'm currently in right now. So that Sunday, I believe, at the very end of our trip, I got to share my testimony with the youth there at the church. And it was a good mix of an age group, but there was also a lot of teenagers there. And so when I was sharing my story, basically everything that I've been saying now, there were 3 girls in the front, and their faces were red, and this one girl was just tears were streaming down her face when I was talking about some of the things that I went through when I was younger and what I had done to try to fix all of that pain and everything. I just noticed she started crying even more, so it made me click, and I was like, so she's going through the same stuff, and maybe she was even thinking of trying to take her life as well. So it made me realize, I think God's going to be using what I've been through to go and save other lives and lead them to Him, just as I have been helped. And, it was just an incredible thing to see. So I got to pray for that girl and the 2 other girls that were next to her. and it was just crazy because you could feel God like laying his hand on me to pray for them, and I could feel his presence sitting there with the four of us, and it was just amazing. And I was so excited. I was like, God, I'm so ready. Like, I want to go now. I'm ready. I don't care if I don't have the money or not. I'm ready to go be a missionary and like talk to these people, because like it's just an amazing thing to do, and it's so amazing when you finally feel God's love and feel that he's actually there. So that was pretty much the end of our trip, and so now I'm just going to go ahead and switch my major and try to figure out where to go next and take these next couple of steps, but that's pretty much what happened.